My sister stole my millionaire fiancé. 7 years later, she can't stop bragging about her life. I never thought I'd see her again, not after what she did. 7 years ago, my sister, Rebecca, betrayed me in a way I didn't think was even possible. She didn't just flirt with my fiancé, she systematically tore apart everything I had been building with him, and then, like some cruel plot twist, she married him. 7 years later, she's sending me pictures of her perfect life, her designer handbags, exotic vacations, and luxury cars, as if she's rubbing it in my face. My name is Charlotte Benson, and I'm 35 years old. I've spent the last 7 years piecing myself back together after a heartbreak that felt like it would consume me entirely. I don't tell people about this story often, because it's messy, the kind of family drama that leaves scars that never truly heal. But writing it here, anonymously, feels like a small relief, like finally admitting that I survived something I wasn't sure I could. Growing up, Rebecca and I were complicated. We were sisters, yes, but we were also constant competitors. Mom would praise her artistic achievements while ignoring mine, and Dad had a habit of comparing us in ways that made me shrink inside. Rebecca always had a way of getting what she wanted. Charming, persuasive, and seemingly sweet, the kind of person who made everyone believe she was perfect. I, on the other hand, was quieter, more cautious, and a little naive. When I met Daniel, it felt like my life finally had someone in it who saw me as enough. He wasn't just successful, he was kind, funny, and deeply patient. We met through mutual friends at a charity event, and within a year we were inseparable. I thought, finally, my life was mine. I was happy, truly happy. Then Rebecca appeared. At first, it was subtle. A text here, a casual visit there. She seemed interested in my life, asking about my work, about Daniel, about everything. I trusted her. I told her about our engagement months in advance. I even let her in on our wedding plans. I thought maybe she'd changed, maybe we could be close. I was wrong. It started with little comments. Daniel mentioned he's stressed with work, you should make him a special dinner. Or, oh, I guess I could babysit your dog while you travel. She inserted herself into my life like a shadow. I didn't notice it at first, but Daniel did. He started acting distant, distracted, and confused. One night I confronted him. Danny, what's going on? You've been different lately. He avoided my eyes. I don't know how to say this, Charlotte. I felt my stomach drop. Say what? I think I've been spending too much time with Rebecca. I laughed nervously, thinking he was joking, but he was. He admitted he'd been developing feelings for her, that he was confused, that he didn't know how to handle it. And then, and I'll never forget this, he told me he wanted to take a break. I remember screaming, crying, begging him to see sense, to remember the years we'd spent together, the plans we'd made. But nothing worked. Within a few months, they were together. Within 6 months, they were married. Rebecca moved in with him while I left the city. I couldn't stand the reminders. I thought that was the lowest point of my life. But in the years that followed, I learned that betrayal doesn't heal easily, not when your own family is involved. Mom called me once to ask why I was letting a little thing like a man come between us, and I realized I'd lost her too. Dad refused to take sides. He said, "Charlotte, this is life. You'll understand one day." I never did. I moved across the country, changed jobs, and rebuilt myself from scratch. It wasn't easy. I had nights where I stared at my ceiling and thought about every shared memory, every plan, every birthday she'd stolen from me. I felt like I'd been robbed, not just of a fiancé, but of a sense of trust in people I loved. And yet, somehow, I survived. I started my own business, a boutique interior design firm that's been slowly thriving. I met someone, a man named Ethan, who treats me with a respect and love that I hadn't realized I was missing. We've been married for 2 years, and last year we had a daughter, Clara. She's the kind of light that makes all the pain feel worth it. And then, one day, Rebecca reached out. Her first email was innocuous. "Charlotte, it's been so long. I just wanted to share some exciting news. We bought a beach house in Malibu. Danny has been doing so well. You should come visit sometime." I read it 3 times. I didn't respond. Then she started posting on social media. Photos of her smiling on yachts, on private jets, in front of enormous houses. And captions like, feeling so grateful for everything life has given me, and living the dream, hard work pays off. I felt my chest tighten every time I saw it. Jealousy, anger, sadness, all of it. And yet, underneath, a tiny spark of pride for myself. I had my own life, my own happiness, even if she didn't believe it was possible. Finally, I responded, not with anger, not with a confrontation, but with a simple, polite message. "Congratulations, Rebecca. I'm glad you're happy." She replied immediately, the tone dripping with self-satisfaction. "Thanks, Charlotte. Isn't it amazing to finally have it all?" I didn't reply. I just smiled quietly to myself, thinking of Ethan and Clara, thinking of my life, the life I built without her. Weeks later, at a family reunion, the first one I'd attended since the wedding fiasco, she cornered me. Her hair was perfectly styled, her designer dress immaculate. She held a champagne glass and smiled in a way that said she thought she'd won. "You really have to see it to believe it, Charlotte," she said, voice laced with that familiar superiority. "Danny and we really do have everything now, everything I ever wanted." I looked her straight in the eyes. I felt a slow, deliberate smile creep across my face. "Rebecca," I said softly, "have you met my husband yet?" Her smile faltered for a split second, and for the first time in 7 years, I saw uncertainty, confusion, a crack in the armor she'd built. The rest of the night was a blur. Conversations I couldn't fully enjoy, forced smiles, laughter that didn't feel real. And yet, a quiet satisfaction settled inside me. I had finally reclaimed my power, my happiness, my story. But even as I sat there, I wondered, had I really forgiven her? Or was this just another way of proving I was better, without actually letting go of the hurt? And that question lingers every day. The days after that reunion were strange. I kept replaying our exchange in my head, that tiny flicker of doubt in her eyes when I mentioned Ethan. Part of me felt triumphant, like I'd finally shown her that stealing my fiancé didn't break me. But another part of me felt hollow, because I realized revenge or proving a point doesn't erase the years of pain. I called Ethan that evening while he was on a work call. He picked up after a few rings. "Hey, Charlotte, everything okay?" he asked, his voice calm, soothing. Yeah, I'm fine," I said, but the tremor in my voice betrayed me. I told him about the reunion, about Rebecca, about that smug smile and the way she said, "We have everything." Ethan listened quietly. When I finally paused, he said, "Charlotte, it sounds like you're holding on to this more than you think. You're happy, right? You have Clara, you have me, your business, everything Rebecca is showing off, you've built your own version of it. Doesn't that count for something?" I didn't answer immediately. I wanted it to be that simple. But inside, I knew it was. Happiness and closure are different things. She may have stolen my fiancé, but she didn't get to steal me. And yet, seeing her life flaunted on Instagram, in text messages, even in casual family gossip, it stung. A week later, I got another message from her. This one wasn't a brag, it was almost careful. "Charlotte, can we talk? I feel like we've both been living separate lives, and maybe it's time to reconcile, or at least try." I stared at it for a long time. Reconcile. Those words carried weight. But could I reconcile with someone who deliberately hurt me, someone who betrayed the trust we were supposed to share as sisters? I debated. I didn't want to be petty. I didn't want to be angry anymore. But I also didn't want to feel foolish for letting her back in without boundaries, so I called Emma. She listened as I read the message aloud, her eyebrows knitting together. "You have to decide what reconciliation would look like," she said finally. "If it means pretending nothing happened, don't do it. But if it's acknowledging the past and moving forward, maybe it's worth exploring." I knew she was right, but it didn't make it easier. I spent that night thinking about every betrayal, every stolen moment, every hurtful word Rebecca had ever spoken. I thought about all the nights I cried, all the anxiety I carried, all the holidays ruined. And then I thought about Clara, about what example I wanted to set for her, about showing her how to handle hurt without letting it define you. The next morning, I drafted a careful response. "Rebecca, I'm willing to talk. But know this, I'm not looking for apologies and I'm not looking for excuses. I want honesty, and I want boundaries." Her reply was almost instant. I understand. I'll be honest. I want us to have a relationship again, but I know it's going to take time. We agreed to meet at a quiet cafe. It felt surreal walking in, seeing her sitting there, perfectly poised, sipping coffee. She looked nervous. I tried not to notice the designer heels or the glimmer of a diamond on her hand. We talked for hours, about the wedding, about Danny, about how our family had failed us both in different ways, about how jealousy and resentment had shaped our childhoods. For the first time, she admitted some things I didn't expect. Charlotte, I was jealous of you, always. And when Danny came along, I think I saw an opportunity to, I don't know, prove I could have the things I wanted too. I didn't think about the consequences to you, to myself, to anyone. I just acted. Her voice cracked, and I realized she wasn't just trying to manipulate me. She was really remorseful. For the first time, I saw the girl I used to love as my sister, before the betrayal, before the smugness. We didn't hug, we didn't cry together, but something shifted. We agreed to try slowly to rebuild trust, knowing it wouldn't be immediate. Over the next few months, we started texting more, even video calling occasionally. She met Clara, and I saw a softer side of her I hadn't known existed. She still has moments where old habits peek through, subtle brags, casual comparisons, but I've learned to let most of it slide. For the first time in years, I feel like I can interact with her without anger consuming me. And yet, the moral dilemma persists. Sometimes I catch myself thinking about Danny, about what she took from me, about the years I spent grieving. I wonder if part of me is forgiving her because I finally feel secure and strong, or because I truly understand and accept her mistakes. Can a person ever fully forgive such betrayal? Or is this just survival, the kind that doesn't erase the past, but lets you live alongside it? I still struggle with it. Some days, when I'm scrolling social media or hearing casual family gossip, I feel that old surge of resentment. Other days, I genuinely wish her happiness. It's confusing, messy, human. I realize now that life isn't about perfect revenge or perfect closure. It's about how you choose to navigate the fallout, whether you let it poison every joy, or whether you reclaim your story and your peace. I'm telling this story now because I know so many people have felt the sting of betrayal by someone they should have been able to trust. Maybe reading this, someone will feel less alone. Maybe someone will see that forgiveness isn't a one-time act. It's a long, often frustrating process. So here I am, married to a man who loves me fully, raising a daughter who makes my heart sing, slowly reconnecting with a sister who once broke me, and still learning the limits of forgiveness. And I have to ask, to anyone who's ever been betrayed by someone they loved, someone they trusted, do you think full forgiveness is possible, or do we just learn to live beside the hurt and call it peace?